Hey folks, welcome back to the Wanneroo channel. Hope everybody's doing good and hope you're enjoying the content out there. As I've mentioned before, there's definitely going to be a lot of variety with this channel. So expect to see a lot of interesting things coming up. Trying to film as much as I can, get a lot of different things out there. And, I'm having fun doing it. So it's fun to do the product reviews. It's fun to do some of the reloading stuff. We have some other topics coming up that we're going to get into as well. Thought I'd make a video today about why I started reloading and kind of my origin story behind it, just to kind of give you a little bit of background and all that. So beautiful day today, out here getting some sun, some vitamin D. So just kind of enjoying that, and I thought, well, it'd be good to sit down and maybe talk about this for 10 or 15 minutes and just kind of talk about how I got started and why and all that sort of thing. So for me, in terms of shooting and stuff, shooting sports, in high school I was a very active small bore rifle competitor, did quite well. Essentially we shot pretty much 4 or 5 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day. We did probably about 24 competitions a year. We were very active. And it was something that I was looking at continuing into college and having a long career through college with it and all that. Different things, I made different choices and all that in terms of taking my life in another direction. And kind of looking back on it now, I think a lot of it was kind of burnout because I was so active in shooting sports. I think it affected a lot of my relationships with people. When you're doing a sport, pretty much every day, and it kind of takes up a lot of your life, there does reach a point where if you're doing it a lot, you do eventually kind of burn out from it and you need a break. And so I think at the end of the day, it was actually good that I stepped away from it. No real regrets. It was an enjoyable experience, but went on to tackle other sporting endeavors and other things out there. So for a number of years, got busy. I was busy doing a lot of traveling. A lot of the work I did, I was constantly moving around, stuff like that. So for a lot of years, it just really wasn't that feasible to kind of get back into shooting sports. And I used to shoot guns occasionally and stuff, but it wasn't really something I was kind of big on at the time. And a lot of it too was in 1994, they passed the assault weapons ban. So a lot of the cool stuff that I'd been interested in as a kid to own, a lot of that stuff disappeared from the store shelves and wasn't easy to get, so kind of lost, a little bit of interest and got more interested in cars and stuff at the time, and still kind of am really big into cars and motorsports and stuff. But so there was a period of time there where, I just kind of checked out from the whole thing, and there was probably a number of years where I didn't even get a gun magazine, was totally out of it in terms of whatever was coming out or whatever was new, whatever. But then once I got a little more settled and, still traveling for work and stuff, but kind of staying in one place and had a place to shoot and all that, then I started thinking about getting into it, and I did. So started shooting again, buying guns, all that sort of stuff. And now, I was able to buy stuff that interests me from a collecting standpoint as well. So that was part of it too. Once I started shooting, one of the things that was going on at the time during the Obama administration was obviously there were numerous panics and different things that happened. So, ammo sales went through the roof and went kind of crazy and stuff. And supplies were limited, prices were high, all that sort of stuff. And quite honestly, reloading was something that I kind of looked at as something just old guys did while listening to talk radio when they were retired. I really kind of was naive in terms of how many benefits there were to reloading and what a fun thing it could be. And it wasn't just for old guys just sitting there listening to talk radio. It was something that could appeal to a lot of people and have a lot of benefits for people out there. So I started watching YouTube videos on it, and it's just kind of by accident, really. And I was like, well, that doesn't look that hard to do. Just making basic ammunition and stuff. And there were a number of reasons behind it. And the first one of which is self-sufficiency. So I could see that with even the supply chain issues back then, and supplies being short, prices being high, all that sort of thing, that if I had my own supply of brass that I could reload time and time again, one of the things I already knew was components, as long as they're stored well, they don't really go bad. So in good times, if I could get a supply of primers, if I could get a supply of powder, bullets, that stuff can sit on the shelf for 60 to 80 years if it's stored well. And, pretty much, it's going to be fine. And we see that even today with, there's been a lot of World War II surplus ammunition dumped on the market recently. And some of it, there might be the odd hang fire, but some of that 303 8mm Mauser stuff that's hit the market, I don't know, it seems to shoot pretty good from what I see. So, a lot of this stuff that might be 60, 70, 80 years old, it still works just fine. I'm shooting surplus ammunition right now from the 70s. So I knew that, if I had a good supply of components and stuff, I could become more self-sufficient. So that was one aspect to it. The other thing was pricing, and that's a big part of it, is that, I was getting into 300 blackout at the time, and 300 blackout at the time was kind of new, even though it had its origins in 300 whisper and all that. It really didn't kind of take off till it kind of morphed into 300 blackout. But whenever it got going, though, there wasn't like a lot of knowledge or data, not like there is now, and there wasn't as much factory support out there either. Factory ammo wasn't as common, different things like that. But, the advantage like with 300 blackout is you can use common powders that are used for Magnum pistol, and you can use just about any 308 bullet out there. So that was a big selling point for that. Plus you can shoot it in an AR platform, AR-15 platform. So the cost was a big issue. 300 blackout factory ammo still in a lot of ways is kind of pricey. So, I could reload my own 300 blackout and cut my costs by 50% or more. Now, some would say, hey, you're exchanging your time, for the cost savings there. And that is true. You're going to have to put some time into it. But one of the things as you go through the reloading process, if you really get into it, like I kind of found is, as you go on through the years, you will start to kind of more automate your task, or you'll get better equipment to speed things up, and kind of the stupid little donkey tasks that take a lot of time, with the different types of gear you can get and different things like that, you can speed up a lot of your case prep and different things like that. So, like the Lee app press is a great example. You can crank out a lot of this case prep stuff much quicker than just doing it with a single stage or something like that. So, the price definitely a big part of it, where you can save some money, and then that leads into the next thing is you can tailor your own loads. So for me, like for instance, I've got a Uzi and a Suomi. Well, they like 124 grain bullets, and they like a powerful 9mm cartridge. So I can essentially use power pistol and kind of tailor my load to that, instead of just like a powder puff target shooting load. So that load will still shoot another 9mm pistols and whatever else I have in 9mm. But it's kind of tailored to those guns, so they function well and they like it. So it eliminated a lot of my issues of using weak 9mm in those guns. So that's a big benefit, is that I could see where, and that's been the case, is that I could essentially tailor all of my ammunition if I wanted to in certain directions. If I want to make a 300 blackout round that's just for plinking, I can make just like I did those 150 grain full metal jacket bullet Hornady bullets, and make a load just for cheap target plinking. If I wanted to do a load for hunting or self-defense, I could make a load with 110 grain Nosler of Armageddons or whatever. So you can essentially, with whatever you're shooting, depending on the powder you use, the bullet you use, whatever, you can essentially tailor those loads to whatever your needs are. Shooting sports, target shooting, plinking, hunting, self-defense, whatever it might be, and or shooting even long distance. There's a good colleague of mine that he has played around with 300 blackout to get it to shoot out to 600 yards. 300 blackout's not a long range cartridge, but you have to basically shoot it like a mortar in that instance. But he played with it enough to get it to do that, just to do it for fun. So you can tailor loads to kind of what you want to do or need to do or whatever it might be. And then the last part of it for me that I've kind of found over the years is that it's fun to do and I enjoy it. And so it's something where, you can derive a lot of enjoyment from it and, enjoy it, enjoy the creativity behind it, enjoy kind of working with your loads. Sometimes things are successful, sometimes they're not as successful. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't work, sometimes things work better than other loads or whatever it might be, and you kind of go through this learning process, and it's fun, and I enjoy it. And it's just I think also too, when you're doing a lot of the work on the bench, especially in wintertime, it just is one of those relaxing things to do, where you can check out of everything else that's going on in the world. You can sit down at the reloading bench, and you can block all that out and just focus on reloading for an hour or two and make your own ammo, And so there's a fun aspect to it as well. And so for me, I like being creative and stuff. And, the YouTube has been good to just kind of get out there, share some of my projects. And sometimes people like them, sometimes they don't, or whatever it might be. And or sometimes people like the way you do things, or they don't like the way you do things. But hey, that's cool. We all got to kind of go our own way in the end. So it's good to be creative and just have fun with it and enjoy it. And it's just an enjoyable part of shooting. So if it's something you're thinking about doing, and it's something that you think you have a passion for and you want to do it. I definitely encourage you to take the steps. And, I got into it just very simply, just, watch a lot of YouTube and see what other people are doing. Read the reloading manuals, read like Handloader magazine. Now, Handloader magazine, typically, it's more oriented towards, the guy who's been reloading for years and years. And so a lot of our articles can be quite detailed, like the pet loads and stuff. They do bazillion loads. I could never do like a pet load article or something like that, probably. Well, maybe I can, who knows. But but there's still a lot of good stuff in there. So read Handloader magazine. A lot of times Hornady and some other shooting magazines, they'll put out like a yearly annual special on the newsstands. They'll have some good articles in them. So read a lot, learn a lot, figure out what you're doing before you do it. Start simple. I started with 9mm. And I remember when I went to the gun store, at that time supplies were limited. And I had my primers, I remember, already, and I had my bullets. I had bought some bullets from Midway, some Remington 115 grain bullets, and essentially the only pistol powder they had was Unique. Well, Unique has been around for 100 years. So the guy, he was a long time reloader, and he looked up some loads and some different manuals and stuff. We talked about it, and he's like, yeah, Unique will work just fine. It's probably a little bit dirtier than some of the other newfangled powders, but it'll work just fine. And so it's probably a good powder for you to start with. And it's kind of big and flaky, and you shouldn't have any issues with double charging a case, or less of a chance of doing that without you noticing. So it's good for a new guy to start with. So yeah, I got started with that, just real simple. So simple tools, simple cartridge, something simple like 45 ACP or 9mm, and yeah, get started, do it. And I was certainly no wizard about it whenever I started, but you learn, you read, you take in a lot of information, you know, read the instructions and the dies, and you just take it nice and slow, step by step, and that's what I did. So now, 8 years later, starting with just sitting there with like the little Lee hand press, you know, loading stuff up, it's now I've got 3 presses and you know, a bunch of different gear and all that, and probably, you know, I'll have more presses in the future, whatever it might be. So you kind of evolve over time, and as you go through the process, some of your tools that you might have used at the start you don't use anymore, which is cool. You upgrade things as you go along, but hey, yeah, it's all good. So anyways, hope you all got a lot out of that, and hope you enjoyed it. And coming up on the channel, winter is closing in, so that will probably change a few things in terms of what I can do in terms of outdoor stuff. I'll still be able to shoot and stuff, but you know, it's not the same as when you're shooting in the fall or the spring. But there's a lot of stuff to come, and I'm working on a lot of different projects. I like doing the product reviews for Amazon. Check some of those out if they interest you. I do put links up there. I'm connected with Amazon Associates, so it's a way of, if people are interested in a product, they can purchase it through that link, and then it kicks back a little commission to me. And so the more support I get from the viewers, you know, the more videos and stuff I can do. I enjoy doing those, and then also with a lot of the reloading and shooting stuff, I would like to do some videos on some of the more collectible guns that I have, and also go through it as like kind of an owner's guide too, in terms of like some of these guns, they don't have a lot of product support behind them perhaps, so different things I've found or whatever to help keep those guns running, or where you can get parts or different things, whatever it might be. Some information on that. So yeah, and then I think there's going to be some other stuff like driving or motorsports in the future as well. So stay tuned. I've decided to do a lot of variety on the channel, and I know sometimes people with YouTube channels, they don't like variety. They just want to do 300 blackout all the time or whatever it might be, but I like doing variety, and I decided that, hey, sometimes some stuff is not going to get massive viewership, but maybe that group of people, maybe they're real enthusiastic about it and they want to learn about it, or they're really into it. So if I can help those people too, that's not a bad thing either, you know. Enjoy the videos, leave comments, and I think you'll see as we go through the next year, we're going to grow a lot, and we're going to add more things, and different things are going to be happening. Like all YouTube channels, it's going to evolve, I hope to see some good growth out of it and all that. So thanks y'all for tuning in. Have a good one.